webcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this webinar today. My name's Chris. I'm part of the product team here at Inclarity. Before we get started, I just want to make sure everyone is able to see my screen, so I'm not presenting a black screen to you here. So on the application for the GoToWebinar, you'll see a little raise hand function. If everyone could just press that, if you can see my screen. Okay. Just waiting for one or two more. Okay, marvelous. So we'll get this webinar underway. So what you'll be seeing here on this webinar today is a brief overview of our Inclarity integrator and how it can be of a benefit to your customers and their individual users. So we'll start off with a bit of what is the Inclarity integrator. So the Inclarity Integrator is a software application that is installed on a user's PC or Mac, and it offers your users real-time updates on screen in regards to presence, phone directories, etc. Offers the ability for clipboard dialing, click to dial through certain web browsers, and depending on the integrated applications with the integrator itself, dialing directly from an application. The Inclarity integrator is available in two license options. You have the Inclarity Integrator Lite for integration with Outlook and Google Contacts, or we have the Inclarity DB version. This allows for integration with one or more specialized CRM systems. Think of things along the lines of Salesforce, Sage, vTiger, etc. So we'll get into some of the benefits for your customers. One of the great benefits is a call preview window. Each call made or received for a user, a box similar to what you'll see on screen will appear. And this box here gives a user information as about to the number of the person calling. It picks up the general geographical location and any naming conventions that they might have for that contact as well. This little pop-up box allows users a certain amount of call control. Using these buttons here, a user can end the call, place it on hold, or initiate transfers, etc. And depending on the level of integration that has been configured by the end user, in this instance, we'll use an example of Microsoft Outlook. If a contact from your Microsoft Outlook contacts calls into you, you'll notice here that this contact has an Outlook button just here. If I was to click on that button, that pops up the contact for that user. Now this button obviously can be configured for different applications that you integrate with as well. You can review the real-time presence of your colleagues, bringing up a list of everyone within your customer's organization. Against each tile here, you'll see a color indicator. Green is generally they are available, and if it was to go red, that indicates that that user is on the phone. Clicking on one of those contacts, you'll see a number of options pop up. Through here, you'll see a handset icon. Clicking on this will initiate a callback, which will then start an outbound call to that particular contact. And clicking on the magnifying glass on the right of it will bring up any contact information there for them as well. As an addition to the real-time presence of colleagues, the integrator can also search through your address book repositories. So through here, I've opened up our address book here and I've typed in a search criteria. What it will do, depending on the level of integration you have, this will search for your contacts within your application that has been integrated. So here we can see this contact is a contact of mine that I have within my Microsoft Outlook. And it will also find the contact details for any users within that match that search criteria that are part of the BroadSoft system under your customer's name. You can also get an on-screen view of your call history. This brings up all of the user's calls today, all of the placed calls, received calls, and missed calls. It gives you details the information for any contacts that haven't got a contact details within the integrations with things like Outlook, Google, and other third-party applications, or within the Inclarity BroadSoft directory, they will appear as unknown contacts, but still allows you to view the number. And obviously, any contacts that you do have saved, all of that information will be hosted on screen here. You can click on your contacts and again call them back using the call icon here. You can, if they are part of one of your applications, then you can click on that icon as well to bring up the contacts page, or you can use the blue circled icon here. This will bring up any callers details within the Inclarity integrator system. To help improve users' efficiency, to help them make it a lot easier to dial various amounts of numbers, etc. The integrator has multiple dialing options. One of the more popular dialing options is a clipboard dialing. This allows a user to copy and paste a telephone number from any various amounts of sources, whether it's a web page, an application, a Word document, etc. And once it's copied to your clipboard, in the corner of your screen, you will have the option to initiate that call to that number. Application dialing can be enabled as well, where the integration is possible with things such as Outlook and other applications. You can hover over a contact within that application or CRM system, and it will give you the option to initiate the call that way. And for straight click dialing processes through web pages, etc., the integrator has a vast amount of dialing handlers. These can be downloaded and embedded within your web browsers. This will highlight any numbers that you'll see on a web page with a call icon next to it, so that you would be able to just dial straight through that web page. As it's all about integration today, the Inclarity integrated DB version can also be used to pause and resume your calls if your user is enabled with our double call recording system. There are two ways of doing this through the Inclarity DB. The first is manually configuring buttons within the pop-up on screen to allow the pause and resume of calls and using a manual method. This is a rather simple process and can be found within our user guides for the Inclarity integrator. And a secondary option, which is more favorable, is setting up an automated process. The Inclarity integrator can be set up to automatically detect applications and web browsers. And once a window of that effect opens up, it will automatically send a signal to pause the recording on the Dubber platform, and an icon will appear on screen letting the user know that the recording has been recorded. Once you have moved away from that web browser or the application in question, you close the window and navigate away from that page, you will receive another notification on screen, allowing you to know that the recording itself has been resumed. Just want to get into a bit of the actual integrations for the Inclarity integrator itself. So on our light version, as standard, a user can integrate with their Outlook as well as their Google Contacts. There is an option for integrating with Skype for Business, but this integration is rather minimal and is only one way. If a user is on the phone and there is an integration with Skype for Business, this will change the Skype for Business presence to an on-call state, but changing your present status on Skype will not affect in any way your Inclarity system. The DB version comes with everything that the Lite version does, with integration with Outlook, Google Contacts, and the Skype for Business, but it also integrates with a vast amount of different CRMs and application databases. A few on screen here, examples, we have Salesforce, Dynamic CRM, Zendesk, but the list is very extensive. We always recommend that if your customer did want integration with a third-party application with the Inclarity integrator, we would always suggest that first off, you check with the Go Integrator website. The Go Integrator website allows you to type in the name of any third-party CRM or application, and it will give back any results found on their database. If you have searched for something using the website and there are no matches given, it is not impossible to integrate with that CRM, but we will get into more of that in just a moment. But on a search that has yielded results for you, you can click on that particular application and it will give you a page similar to this. This will let you know the classification of the integration itself, and it will also give you a list of its supported features. So as you can see here, caller preview details, address book searches, click to dial, manual screen popping, and other hosts of features available. It will also let you know what license type that you will need to take from Inclarity, but as we've previously mentioned, our Lite version only comes with the Outlook Google Contacts integration, and any other third-party integration will have to be on our DB license. On a majority of integrations found on the website, you will see a classification of standard. This means that that particular integration by default is available. You may, on very rare occasions, find that an integration will be classed as controlled. This means that the integration is not available by default, and should a customer require integration with that particular CRM, then this will need to be raised with your Inclarity account manager and with us at the pre-sales team, as vendor input will most likely be required at the time of installation and possibly before that to do some form of testing to make sure the rollout works as needs be. Now, I mentioned just a moment ago, looking through the website and seeing that your particular CRM is not listed there. As we've mentioned before, any integrations outside those listed, it is possible for us to look into getting those integrations set up, but there will be a level of discovery between us and the vendor as well. And we will need a certain amount of information from you. The type of information does seem quite extensive, but it is very important that we get this to make sure that the discovery goes as smoothly as possible. Type of information we're going to need is the exact name of the application itself, the version number or build number of that application, the name of the company that makes this software, and where applicable, a website address, whether the application is hosted in the cloud or it is on the customer's premises. Is the application accessed via a web browser or via a proprietary software client? Does the application have an API, and can that information be shared with our vendor? And how many users will be licensed for this integration? If the integration is successfully built and offered, we need to know a rough ballpark, but we need to know figures as to how many users this is going to be rolled out against. TAPI. In instances where your CRM or application database is TAPI compatible, it is recommended that you look into this as an option in place of the Inclarity Integrator. The TAPI driver is designed to sit in the background running on a user's PC, and it is designed to sit there while the third-party TAPI compatible application itself shows you and allows you to dial your telephone calls itself. Whereas the Inclarity Integrator is an over-the-top application that runs alongside your CRM solution and tries to combine the two. So it's always recommended that if your CRM solution is TAPI compatible, potentially looking to going down this route rather than the Inclarity Integrator route. Following this webinar, I will be sending out partner primers for you. This is to help you kind of identify what will be the better solution in terms of integration for your customer, whether it would be the TAPI client or whether it would be the Inclarity Integrator. We will also be looking at, I'll also be sending out, a user guide for you to keep on file in case you ever need to use it upon configuring the Inclarity Integrator itself. And obviously, if there are any further bits of information that you do require, by all means, please contact us at pre-sales at inclarity.co.uk. And so now that's what we have for you today for our Inclarity Integrator webinar. If you do have any questions, please post them now. We'll take a few moments for you to type them up. And obviously, if you do think of anything outside of this webinar session, please contact us. We're happy to answer any questions. Just had one question in regarding sending over any notes or documents from this presentation. Yep, I will be sending that and following up across, following this webinar, sending across any relevant information. Okay, we just had a question. Is the integrator available with every IPC license? So the Inclarity integrator is an additional is a feature that comes at an additional cost to your subscriber licenses. I haven't got the prices to rattle off to you on hand, but for the lights, I know it's a matter of around, I think it's less than £1 per user for the light integration, and I wouldn't dare like to say what it would be for the DV. I haven't got that information to hand. Okay, I don't see any further questions coming in at this time, but again, please, if you do think of something outside of this webinar, email us at presales@inclarity.co.uk, or if you prefer to pick up the phone, you can call us on 0207 952 1800. That's 0207 952 1800. Again, thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you on our next webinar.